ladies and gentlemen, to Episode 2 of Odious Orations. I will be one of your narrators this evening, Joyful Bell. Join me as we read spoopy Reddit stories. Shall we? My sugar daddy asks me for weird favors. His Tinder profile said he was 45, but he looked to be in his early 30s at most. Looking for a sugar baby. $700 weekly, no sex. Sounded good to me. It sounded too good to be true, but as a broke university student, I was willing to take my chances. I swiped right, and Tinder let me know it was a match. His message came seconds later. Hey there, sweetheart. I cringed at that word. I hated it. But $700 is $700, so I sucked it up and replied, hey, winky face. His name was Jack, and he told me he owned his own business, although he never specified what kind of business it was. We talked for a little while before he asked me for my Venmo to send me the first payment. After a few minutes, I got to the notification. I stared at the $700 for at least 20 minutes, expecting to wake up from a dream at any second. But it wasn't a dream. I'm sorry, $700 just for being like, yeah, sure, I'll hang out. Should I be a sugar baby? I'm so sorry.
No, it's dangerous. I don't trust that.
It's not the right question to be asking in the middle of spoopy story time.
Bah, be fine. You still there?
You didn't find this in the Too Good to Be True Reddit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like this is going very downhill.
Oh, yeah.
And,
These are from the No Sleep subreddit, by the way, which has very good stories. You still there? I clicked on the message. Yeah, sorry, if you don't mind me asking, what are you looking for in return? I stared at the chat until he replied. I'm just looking for you to do a few favors for me. Smiley face. That sounded like it was going to be sexual to me. Like what? For example, the first thing I need you to do is pick up a delivery for me. That sounded innocent enough, but I was still expecting there to be some kind of twist. $700 to pick up a package? Come on, even I wasn't that naive. From the post office or something? No, I'll send you the address, but I'd rather not do this through Tinder. You got Kick, or can you give me your number? Kick? What was this, 2011? I decided to give him my number instead, and he texted me the address immediately, followed by the address to his house. Oh, side note, for all you kids at home, Kick used to be a messaging app before it was an incredibly problematic streaming platform. Are you immersed? Me too. I'm not home right now, but there's a key at the bottom of the blue flower pot near the door. Go inside and put the package on the coffee table in the living room. Make sure that you lock the door when you go inside the house, and then lock it again when you leave. I grabbed my car keys and wallet and got into my car, putting the address into Google Maps. Got it. On my way. Ladies, what do we think's going to be in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's nothing sexual, because this man is just so weird that I don't think he's gonna be typical.
So
Yeah,
you're not getting a Buffalo Bill vibe from him like I am?
I'm getting like grandma's ashes.
Grandma's
vibe.
ashes?
Like,
Why would you hire
something
someone to
like-
pick up grandma's
something on
ashes?
face, just to see if they would do it. I don't know.
You'd pay someone $700 to see if they pick up a bag of ash human remains?
Maybe I didn't like her. I don't know.
Okay. Stacy, what do you think's in the box?
I don't know, I'm still feeling severed head.
Yeah? Okay.
Fake driver's license.
Yeah.
It's her own cat.
Oh, God!
That would
You
actually
knew all
be
along she would
terrifying.
answer.
My phone buzzed as I backed out of my driveway. I'm serious. Lock the door both times, please. I thought that was a little excessive, but I promised him that I would. The house looked abandoned. It had a broken chain link fence around it, with a small door that was hanging on to dear life. It stuck out like a sore thumb, surrounded by houses that were a lot nicer than this one in comparison. You here for jack shit? I looked up to see a man standing in the open doorway of the house. He took up almost the entire space, his head skimming the top of the doorframe. He was huge in height and muscles, and his entire torso was covered in tattoos. Oh, sounds like... yeah, I guess, I replied, not moving from my spot on the sidewalk. Stay right there, he said. I did. I actually don't think I would have moved if he had asked me to. Smart lady. I looked around and realized that there was no one else on the street. It was a 21-year-old woman alone in the street. I gripped my car keys. A few minutes later, the man came back out carrying a cardboard box. It was about the size of a shoebox, but stained and damp on some of the corners. Can you open your car? He asked. I opened the trunk, not wanting that box inside my car seats, and he set it in. That's a very sorry. All right, there you go, he said. Thanks, I replied. I walked around to the driver's side of the car and opened the door. Oh, and one more thing, he said. I looked at him. Watch out, he said. I didn't reply. I blasted my music as I drove to Jack's house, hoping it would drown out my anxiety. It didn't. I parked my car on the stone driveway and stayed inside the car, admiring the house. It was a huge house with stone pillars on the front porch and the greenest grass I had ever seen in my life. I turned the car off and got out. I grabbed the package and walked to the front door, getting the key from where he said it would be. I opened the door and stepped in, closing it behind me. I thought about what he said about locking the door when I got inside. I thought that was a little overboard, but as I stared at the closed door, something made me reach out and lock it. Smart lady. I walked inside, my feet cushioned by the thick maroon carpet, and admired the inside of the house.
What the heck? It's not smart to lock the door behind you when you go into somewhere that you've never been before.
Well, I mean,
you can't leave easy.
If you're in a crazy ass neighborhood where you don't know what the fuck's going on, I would rather keep what's out there, and know that I know how to unlock the door and leave. You know what I'm saying?
I'm leaving that door wide open until I get back out.
No.
Can we get back to the part where the box is damp and stained in the corners?
I
Yeah.
hope you put on gloves. That's nasty.
Ew.
Yeah.
It's pudding.
It's pudding. It's fine. It's just grandma's.
It's just a box of pudding.
It's just a little bit of grandma's pudding mix.
No bowl, no container, just box of pudding.
Pudding.
It's a Minnesota salad. It's fine.
Which one?
All of them.
Oh God, that is scary.
Okay. I walked inside, my feet cushioned by the thick maroon carpet, and admired the inside of the house. All the furniture was wooden and looked incredibly expensive. I would probably finish school a dozen times with the money that it took to furnish this place. I set the package down on the coffee table, and as I walked back to the door, I heard a phone ringing from somewhere inside the house. I froze. In my pocket, my phone buzzed, and I took it out to look. Don't answer any calls that aren't from Marvin. I put my phone back and followed the sound of the phone, poking my head into a few different rooms before I found it in an office. I walked over to the desk and looked at the caller ID. Incoming call from Jack. That was odd. I grabbed my phone to look at the message again. I was starting to get a little bit creeped out and decided I wouldn't answer just to be safe and left the house, remembering to lock the door as I left. I've done a few more favors for Jack since then. I drove a BMW to a random park in another city, only to get out and drive a different car back to Jack's house. He had me meet one of his employees at lunch, who then gave me a briefcase to deliver at the first house I had gone to and told me he would know if I looked inside. On several occasions, he asked me to drive down to that same house and stay with the guy, whose name was Julio, for a certain amount of time. In total,
Wait, this tattoo guy is named Julio?
Maybe.
That's what I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Because that's the only other person she's actually met, right?
Yeah, that's the only other person.
He asked her to stay with that man? Like,
Yeah.
just sleep in the house overnight?
Yeah.
I'm confused.
And that's why you bring a little shank, stabby, stab. Bring bear spray, you know? Any guy that
Or in
big,
Lexi's case, a bear trap.
bear trap. And then she'll trap herself and die.
Oops.
All right. In total, I've made around 3,500. Most recently, Jack asked me to stay in his house overnight. I woke up to a text message from him. I need you to spend the night at my house. I hadn't ever seen him in person, but I had talked to him on the phone a few times. He proceeded to tell me he would pay me $1,000 to spend the night at his house, provided that I follow a few rules. I drove to his house that evening. The driveway was empty, and it normally was, but the porch light was on. I walked up, unlocked the door, went inside, and then locked it again. Everything in the house looked the same. Jack had told me over the phone that he would leave the list of rules on the dining room table. I set all my stuff down in the living room. My bags looked like garbage compared to the fancy furniture in there. I wandered into the kitchen and then to the dining room. Sure enough, there was a piece of paper on the wooden table held down by an empty glass. Lock the door when you come in. Only answer calls from Marvin. Do not turn on any faucets between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. Don't open the door for anyone, no matter who they say they are, after 10 p.m. If the door to the closet at the end of the hall is open, sleep in the library. If closed, sleep in any of the bedrooms. The gardener comes at midnight. If he starts knocking on the windows, hide. Turn the TV on and let it play on static through the night. Do not forget to do this. Help yourself to anything in the fridge. I'll pay you in the morning. Good night. I'm sorry. Can I just take a second to point out the fact that my ADHD ass would die in the first half hour of being there. I have no object permanence. I would be looking at that list every 5 fucking minutes. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that out. Back to the spoopy. I would be
in the
dead.
library anyway. There's books.
I don't like
there.
this list. I don't like this list at all.
I don't think you're supposed to.
Why do you have to sleep in a different spot? That's so weird. I don't like that.
Depending on whether a closet door is open or not.
I'm like,
and
any
like,
of the closet doors are open.
There's time.
I'm out.
Honestly, like, just to be safe, I'm gonna set an alarm for 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. I'm gonna turn the water on and just go sleep in a closet in the library and call it a fucking day. Like, I hope this is right.
All the things she's not supposed to.
All at once.
Everything opposite.
Everything will be covered in this if I sleep in a
Just
closet
have all
in the
the
library.
monsters fight each other, and then we're good.
Kill them all.
What was that?
Let
Open
God
the
sort
door
'em
to
out.
everyone? Leave the water running from 9 to 11? Okay, answer all the calls except for
Hello?
Marvin? Got it.
Is your
Stare
name
the
Marvin?
gardener in the eye.
Oh, God.
I got it.
Dance naked through the library after midnight when the gardener starts knocking.
Imagine
Hell
if he
yeah.
was like, if the phone rings 3 times, pick it up. If it rings 5, hang it. Don't answer. It's like, but how? What?
I forgot I was supposed to count by the time it's the third ring. Whoops.
Oh, God.
Hey, the phone is ringing. Oh shit, I was supposed
It's like
to
an
count that.
impossible fucking, like, Legend of the Hidden Temple riddle, and you're like, I don't know. I didn't have Nickelodeon as a kid. Please. Okay. This is serious business. This sugar lady's about to die. I'm pretty sure. I made sure to follow all the rules. To be honest, I was regretting my decision. But seeing as I was already here and I was getting paid, I decided to stay anyway. Yeah, no big deal. I figured as long as I followed all the rules, I'd be perfectly fine. Still, it felt a little odd. What was this? A haunted house? Nevertheless, I lounged around the house for a few hours, as I was planning on going to sleep around 9, since that's the time that all the weird shit would begin to happen. At 8:50, I brushed my teeth, using the faucet for the last time before 9. I checked the closet in the hallway, and upon seeing that it was open, I moved my stuff into the library and got ready to sleep on the couch. I locked the doors just in case and laid on the couch, scrolling through my phone. I hadn't gotten any more messages from Jack, and I started to think up scenarios and reasons as to why he had such strict, peculiar sets of rules for this house. I had dozed off at some point because at exactly 10:16 p.m. I was awoken by the doorbell ringing. I was about
Okay, it could be ringing.
Yeah, it was a ringing. Father, do you hear them? The bells, they are a ringing. Ah. Saints alive. Fuck, where was I?
Doorbell ringing.
Doorbell ringing.
You know she's not the pious schoolgirl if she being a sugar baby.
Yeah. I had dozed off at some point because exactly at 10:16 p.m. I was woken up by the doorbell ringing. I was about to get up to check, but then I remembered the rule. Don't open the door for anyone, no matter who they say they are, after 10 p.m. I stayed on the couch, trying not to move, paranoid that they would hear even the slightest sound. It's the police! Open up! I didn't move. Hello? It's the police! Open up, or we're coming in. Hello? Sorry. I still didn't move, but I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. There was silence for a while after that. Then the doorbell rang again. Hey, it's Jack. Let me in. It sounded like Jack, but still, I didn't get up. I just want you both to take a second to understand the restraint it took me not to have a doorbell knocking sound for that very moment.
I love you for that.
For that very fucking moment. Anyway.
Appreciate it. Yeah, show me the warrant. No, I'm not opening that door. How dare you?
Yeah. It sounded like Jack, but still, I didn't get up. He would have a key, wouldn't he? Why would he need me to let him in? This continued for almost a full hour. Different people would ring the doorbell, announce themselves, and then disappear when I didn't respond. I was finally able to fall asleep, and the gardener never came. When I woke up the next morning, I heard someone in the kitchen. I got up slowly and unlocked the door as quietly as possible, taking my phone with me and walking across the living room and into the kitchen. I stopped at the entrance and peered in. It was Jack. He was standing in front of the stove, stirring something as the coffee machine brewed coffee on the counter behind him. "Hey, good morning," he said when he saw me. "Hi," I replied, nervous. I didn't see him in person before, but he looked exactly like his pictures online. "Scrambled eggs?" he asked, motioning to the pan with a wooden spoon. "Yeah, thanks," I replied, walking over to take the plate from him. I ate my breakfast and drank some coffee in silence. "So how was it?" he asked. "It was okay. Nothing super freaky happened." Ha!
The fuck?
You scared me so bad, Lexi. Jesus Christ. It's okay. It's okay. It was okay. Nothing super freaky happened, I replied. "Cool," he replied. There was an awkwardness in the room. "I think I'm going to go now. I have class," I trailed off. I didn't, but I really wanted to get out of there. Same, girl. "Oh, no, yeah, sure. I'll talk to you some other time," he replied. I grabbed my stuff, and he walked me to my car. I could see him standing in the driveway, staring at me as I left. Ugh, why? When I got home, I unpacked all my stuff and noticed that I still had the list with me. I sat on my bed and read it again. I felt my body tense up as I realized that I had forgotten something. Turn the TV on and let it play on static through the night. Do not forget to do this. Turn the TV on and let it play on static through the night. Do not forget to do this. Do not forget to do this. I stared at the words on the page until they lost meaning. Beside me, my phone buzzed, snapping me back to reality. It was the $1,000 payment. I looked at my phone and then back at the list. Maybe it wasn't an important step? As I was thinking this over, a text from Jack came in. "I'm not in town right now. I should be back next week, so you're free from running any more errands for me until then. Just send the payment. Go do something fun." I stared at the message and read it again. And again. And once more for good measure. "I'm not in town right now." I thought back to this morning and how Jack was in his house, how he gave me breakfast. I'm not in town right now. Within minutes, a new text came in, this time from a number that I didn't recognize. Did you forget something? The text was followed by a picture of Jack, or whoever this version of Jack was, standing in front of the TV. I didn't respond. Next came another picture. This one was the outside of my house. It was followed by another text. Watch out. Oh, ADHD wins again.
Absolutely not. Mm-mm.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Delivering a package. I might do that. Staying at a random man's home.
Yeah,
No.
ain't no
Staying at your home
fucking way, dog.
without you.
Ain't no fucking way.
House sitting.
Same,
See,
Sparrow.
house
I would
sitting
have done
be
the same.
okay. As soon as I get that list, absolutely not.
Oh,
I
yeah.
ain't doing that shit.
Yeah. I'm going to put this down and I'm going to head out. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for considering this, but no. Thanks for considering me.
Thanks so much for having me in your home. Get fucked. I'm leaving.
Yeah. Move.
All right, this is called Something Walks Whistling Past My House Every Night at 3:03. Girl, we are up at 3:03 every Friday and Saturday night.
All the time.
Fuck you mean? The fuck do you mean?
3:03 your time.
Sometimes I welcome the sun twice in one day. Every night, no matter the weather, something walks down our street whistling softly. You can only hear it if you're in the living room or the kitchen when they walk by, and it always starts exactly at 3:03. The sound starts faint, somewhere near the beginning of the lane near the Carson place. We're towards the middle of the street, so the whistling moves past us before we're fading away in the direction of the cul-de-sac. When I was younger, my sister and I would sneak into the kitchen some nights to listen. Mom and Dad didn't like that, and we'd catch hell if they found us out there, but they were never too hard on us since we always stuck to the one big rule. Don't try to look at whatever was whistling. My neighborhood is a funny place. I've lived here since I was 6, and I love it. The houses are small but well kept, good-sized yards, plenty of places to roam. There are lots of other kids here my age. I turned 13 back in October. We grew up together, and I would always play foursquare in the cul-de-sac or roam around from back porch to back porch in the summer. This was a good place to grow up. I'm old enough to see it. And there's only 2 strange things here. The night whistling and the good luck. The whistling never bothered me much. Like I said, I couldn't even hear it from my bedroom. But Mom and Dad don't like talking about it, so I stopped asking questions. My dad is a strong guy, tall and calm. He has an accent since he moved to the U.S. as a kid. His family, my grandparents, they're from the islands. That's what they call it. My dad, the only time he isn't so calm is if the whistler comes up. He talks a little quicker then, eyes move faster, and he tells us not to think about it so much and to always remember that one rule, the big rule. Don't try to look outside when the whistler goes past. Not that we could, even if we wanted. See, there are shutters on the inside of every window. Thick pieces of heavy canvas that pull down from the top and latch to the bottom of the window frame. Each latch even has a small lock, about the size of what you'd find on a diary. My dad locks those shutters every night before we all go to bed and keeps the key in his room. Sounds like the hurricane shutters my parents have, but they don't come down. You gotta put those bitches up and then put them down with wing nuts and shit. It takes 3 days to do it. It's horrible. I know, because I've had to do it 3 times in one hurricane season, and my mom insisted on taking them down every time. And I was like, there's going to be another one next week. Can we wait? Anyway, Lexi, what are your thoughts?
Every time they say the Whistler, I think the Onceler in my head, and it's making me laugh. And I can't. I'm like, I know this is supposed to be scary. The Onceler.
My mom, I don't know what she thinks about the whistling. I've seen her out in the living room before 3:03 when the sound starts. I could see her if I cracked my door open just an inch to peek. She's not out there often. At least I haven't caught her out much. Haven't caught her much. But once or twice a month, I think she sits out there on her big red couch just listening. The Whistler has the same tune every night. It's cheerful. Da 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 dum, da do 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 dum. I'm not going to remember to sing that again, so don't judge me if I don't remember that exact melody. Okay, thank you. Remember how I said there are two odd things about where I live? Well, besides our night whistler, everyone in my neighborhood is really lucky. It's hard to explain, and Dad doesn't like us talking about this part much either. But good things seem to happen to people around here a lot. Usually it's small things, winning a radio contest, or getting an unexpected promotion at work, or finding some arrowheads buried in the yard. You know, the authentic kind. As opposed to what? The Toys R Us kind? The weather is pretty good, and there's no crime, and everybody's gardens bloom extra bright in the fall. Oh yeah, because it's not supposed to bloom anymore. What?
He's calling me out for my spelling in the chat.
I'm picking on Lexi in the chat.
Oh, I saw laughing. I was like, "Oh no, what I say?" I got nervous. I was like, "What did I say? What are you saying to her?"
Also, it was on an Indian burial ground.
The Onceler.
Arrowhead.
I don't know what my mom thinks about the Onceler. Can we get some Onceler lore in the chat? Just make up a whole backstory about the Onceler. The weather is pretty good, and there's no crime, and everybody's gardens bloom extra bright in the fall. A million little blessings. I've heard my mom say about living here. But the main reason we stay here, and he speaks for the trees! But the main reason we stay here, why we moved here in the first place, is my sister Nola. She was born very sick, something with her lungs. We couldn't even bring her home when she was born, only visit her in the hospital. She was so small, I remember. Small even compared to the other babies. A machine had to breathe for her. Oh, that's so sad. Babies not being able to breathe is the saddest thing I've ever heard. We moved into our house here to be closer to the hospital. As soon as we moved here, Nola started getting better. The doctors couldn't figure it out. They chalked it up to whatever they were doing, but we all could tell they were confused. But my parents knew. Even I knew. Nola getting better was just another of the million little blessings we got for living in our neighborhood. I don't know if I'd call that a little blessing. I'd call that a fucking miracle. When a baby is born and has to be on a ventilator straight out the womb, and then they're just fine, that's not a little blessing. That's a goddamn miracle. So that's why we stayed, even after we found out that for every small miracle that happens here every day, now and then, some bad things happen, but they only happen if you look at the Whistler. See, our neighborhood has a welcoming committee. They show up with macaroni casserole and a gift basket and manila folder whenever someone new moves in. Sounds like, a regular HOA meeting to me. They're very friendly. 4 people showed up when we moved in 7 years ago. The committee made small talk, gave me a Snickers bar, and took turns holding Nola. It was her first week out of the hospital, so they were extra careful. Then the committee asked to speak to my parents in private, so I was sent to my room where I still managed to hear nearly every word. The welcoming committee told my parents about how nice the neighborhood was. Really exceptionally hard to explain kind of nice. And then they told my parents about the even harder to explain whistling that happened every morning at 3:03 and ended at the tick of 3:05. The group, our new neighbors, warned my parents that the whistling was quiet, would never harm or hurt us, as long as we didn't look for what was making the sound. This part they stressed, and I pushed my ear into the door, straining to hear them. People who went looking for the whistler had their luck change, sometimes tragically. A black cloud would hang over anyone that looked. Anything that could go wrong would. The manila envelope the committee brought over contained newspaper clippings, stories about car crashes and ruined lives, public deaths, and freak accidents. Not everyone dies, I heard the committee tell my dad, but the life goes out of them. Even if they live, there's no light in them ever again, no presence. Why does this sound like some Appalachian bullshit? Listen, Appalachian folklore is the scariest shit. You want to get me actually nervous? Send me some Appalachian folklore. I will lose it, dude. That shit is so scary to me. My mom, I could tell she wasn't taking it seriously. She kept asking if this was some prank they play on new neighbors. At one point, my mom got angry, accused the committee of trying to scare us out of our new home, asked them if they were racist on account of my dad being from the islands. My dad calmed her down, told her he could tell our new neighbors were sincere and they were just trying to help us. He explained that he grew up hearing these kinds of stories from his mom, and he knew there were strange things that walked among us. Some of the strange things were good, and some were bad, but most were just different. After the committee left, Dad went out to the hardware store, bought the canvas blinds, the latches, and the locks, and installed them on every window in the house after dinner. At first night in our new house, I crept out of my room at 3 a.m., only to find my dad awake, sitting in the living room couch, holding my baby sister. My dad held up his finger in a shh motion, but patted the couch next to him. I sat, and we waited. Yeah, I would imagine. I know myself as a child. If you told me a boogeyman is going to come past your house at 3:03 in the morning, and if you look at him, bad shit's going to go down, I'd be like, bet. I'll test that theory. That is 100% my vibe.
I'd be like under the covers, like making sure my eyes
dude.
couldn't possibly, like, duct tape my eyes shut at this point.
Nah,
No.
I am that child. I'm that child, you know?
I'd be sticking with my old reliable. If you can't see me, you can't get me.
No. See,
This is when you learn, if you hear a noise at night, roll over, don't get out of bed.
yeah, don't look towards the doorway. Just look towards the wall. No, see that, and this is why I get shot in the face by the shooter in Repo every time, because I just go headlong into everything in front of me. Because why would there be something dangerous? And then I get shot in the teeth. But that would be my vibe. So absolutely, my dad would have to sit on that couch every night for probably a month to be like, get your ass back in that bedroom. Every night. At exactly 3:03, we heard the whistling. Da-da-da, da-da-dum, da-da-da, da-da-dum. I can't whistle, I'm so sorry. I'm not good at whistle. Lexi, whistle! Do the whistle! You whistle. Do it!
I do whistle.
Do the whistle sound. Do a whistle sound. Do it! If you can do it in Repo, you can do it here. Give me
I like whistling at monsters.
Give me a little something. Give me a little birdie tune.
I can't. I don't know how you would whistle.
Oh, I can whistle.
Like a da-da-da.
I typically cannot whistle if I have chapstick on. But this time. Daisy,
Can't
please,
hear your whistle
please don't.
I
on the
know.
Discord.
Please don't include that in the video. Okay, thank you. Love you. Bye.
Oh no, I'm gonna highlight it.
Like zooming in on just the lower part of my mouth and be like, check this fucking idiot out.
The whistle.
Look at this fucking idiot trying to whistle on the internet. The fuck is that?
I'll make a short out of it too.
Oh,
Discord,
speaking
like, the hell is that whistling sound? Shut up. I'm like, oh.
Speaking of whistling, by the way, if you hear a whistle at night, no, you didn't. You
It's
hear
the
me?
wind.
All you
It's
there
the wind,
in
regardless.
internet land, if you hear a whistle at night, no, you didn't. Okay? Never happened. Continue about your day. If you don't know why, ask someone from the South or the Appalachian area, and they will tell you.
Can you imagine like a monster looking in your window and like wolf whistling at you at night? Like, hey, hey girl.
Hey, girl, you're a child. Them footy pajamas, girl.
I see you got glow in the dark stars in there.
Oh, shit. You got them glowing stars? Oh, my God.
You guys are so stupid.
Is that Rumpelstiltskin? Not Rumpelstiltskin. Teddy Ruxpin on the bookshelf? Ow, shit. That's a callback.
Hell no, Teddy Ruxpin was freaky as hell.
It was so scary. If his batteries got low, he would read you the books in a very slowed down, demonic tone. I remember my dad. They put in Teddy Ruxpin to read stories to me once I got old enough that they were like, you can just listen to a machine. We're sick of your shit. And they would put him down next to me and they would press play. And one time they did it and the batteries, like, I guess drained, like, quickly. I don't know what the fuck happened, but all of a sudden it started doing like really slow movements. And when I tell you, I let out the most blood curdling scream, and my dad came running into my bedroom and was like, what is going on? I was like, ah! I was pointing at the Teddy Ruxpin. Teddy Ruxpin was never in my bedroom at night again. Never again. Never again. I scared the shit out of my dad. Okay. All right. Back to the the issue at hand. It came and it went, just like our neighbor said. The whistling returns each night, and we never look, and we enjoy our million little blessings every day. Nola breathes on her own, and she's grown into a strong, clever girl. My dad even joined the welcoming committee.
Sorry, it was just too Jurassic Park.
It's like an
Clever
HOA.
girl.
Clever girl. I have a jacket I wear to work that has that badge. I have a patch that
Hell
says
yeah.
clever girl on it. I have it as my name tag at work. We don't have name tags, but I wear it anyway. Anyway,
Hell yeah.
my dad even joined the welcoming committee. We don't get new neighbors often. Why would anyone want to leave? But when a new family moves in, my dad and the committee bring them macaroni casserole, a gift basket, and the manila folder. I can always tell by the look on my dad's face when he comes back if the family took the committee seriously or if we'd be getting new neighbors again very soon. Not long ago, a family moved in directly next to us. The previous owner, Miss Maddie, passed away at age 105. She lived a good, long life. Our new neighbors seemed like they'd fit in just fine. They believed the welcoming committee, took my dad's advice about locking the shutters, since they had a young child of their own. Whatever newspaper clippings were in that manila envelope, whatever evidence my dad never let us see. But I imagine it must have been awfully convincing since our neighbors got along with no issues for the first month. One night, when our new neighbors had to leave town, they sent their son, Holden, to stay with us. He was 12, a year under me in school. I didn't know him well before that night, but as soon as his parents dropped him off after dinner, I could tell he was going to be a bad time. Do you know who is always out there whistling every night? Holden asked the moment the adults left the room. The three of us were sitting in the den, some Disney movie playing idly on the television. My sister and I exchanged a glance. We don't talk about that, I said. I think I think that it's I think it's that weirdo that lives in the big yellow house on the corner, Holden said. Mr. Tolles? My sister asked. No way, he's really nice. Holden shrugged. Must be a psycho killer then. Nola tensed. We don't talk about it, I repeated. Let's go in my room and play Nintendo. I spent the next few hours playing games, eating popcorn, and then watching movies. A typical sleepover, but I could see Holden was getting antsy. After my parents had wished us good night, locked the blinds, and gone to bed, Holden stood up from his bean bag and walked over to where Nola and I were sitting on my bed. Have you ever tried looking? He asked. It's nearly time. Like most sleepovers, we conveniently ignored any suggestion of a bedtime. I was shocked to see he was right. It was almost 3 a.m. I sighed. We don't... See, I can't even try to look because my dad locks the blinds every night and hides the key, he continued, ignoring me. So does our dad, said Nola. No, replied Holden. No, he doesn't. You saw him do it, I said, a little sharper than I meant to sound. Holden grinned. Your dad locks the blinds, yeah, but he doesn't hide the key. He keeps it right on his normal keychain. So? I asked, worried I already knew what he would say next, because I had noticed that my dad didn't bother hiding the key anymore after all these years, because he knew we took it seriously. So after your dad locked up, but before your parents went to bed, I went to the bathroom, and on my way, may have peeked into their room, and I may have seen your dad's keychain on his nightstand, and maybe we went and borrowed the key to the blinds. Nola and I stared, and his grin only grew wider. You're lying, I said. Holden shrugged. You can check if you want. Just open your parents' door and look. You'll see his keychain right there on the nightstand.
Why did you have to check for your dad's keys? You know your dad has keys. What is this going to accomplish for you?
Stay here, I told both of them. Don't move a muscle. I hurried over to my parents' room but hesitated at the door. If Holden wasn't lying, my dad would be angry. Beyond angry. I was scared thinking about it, but more scared of an open window with the whistler right outside. I opened the door, barely an inch, and looked in, but it was too dark to see. Taking a deep breath, I walked into the room. 2 steps into the dark, I froze. The whistling started, and I could hear it clearly from my parents' room. I never realized, but they must have heard the sound every night since we moved into the house. They never told us. I don't think I could have slept through it. I stood there, listening to the whistling come closer, unsure whether I should turn on a light or call out for my dad. Soft sounds from the living room brought me back to reality. Nola! I yelled, running out of my parents' room. Holden and Nola were standing near the front door next to a window. Holden wasn't lying. I could see him fumbling with the lock on one of the blinds. I heard a click. He did have the key. Holden let out a quick laugh. Nola stood next to him, hunched up, afraid, but maybe curious. The whistling was right outside our house now. I think I made a sound, called out. I can't remember. Time felt frozen, clock hands nailed to the face, but I found myself moving. I'm not fast. I've never been athletic. Somehow, though, I covered the space between myself and Nola in a moment. My eyes were locked on her, but I heard Holden pull the blind all the way down so it could release. Heard the snap of it start to raise, and heard the whistling just on the other side of the window. But I had my arms around Nola, and I turned her so she was facing away from the window. At the same time, I jammed my eyes shut. The blind whipped open. The whistling stopped. I felt Nola shaking in my arms. Don't look, okay? I told her. Don't turn around. We were positioned so that she was facing back towards the hallway, and I was facing the window. My eyes were still closed. I felt her nod into my shoulder. I reached out with the arm not holding Nola and tried to touch Holden. My hand brushed against his arm. He was shaking worse than Nola. Holden? I asked. Silence. I reached past him and gingerly felt for the window, eyes still sealed shut. The glass was cold against my fingertips, colder than it should have been for the time of year. I moved my hand up the window, searching for the string to the blind. The glass began to get warmer the further I reached, and there was a gentle hum feeding back into my fingertips. I tried not to think about what might be on the other side of the window. Finally, I touched the string and yanked the blind shut. Ow! That part gives me such goosebumps because he's got his hand going up the glass and he's feeling this dude's face, hot ass breath against the glass. Oh, that gives me goosebumps whenever I read that paragraph. Oh, God. Okay. I opened my eyes. In the dim light leaking out from the kitchen, I could make out Holden, pale and small, staring the now closed window. Holden? I asked again. He turned towards me and he screamed. Everything became a flurry of motion. Light sparked to life in the hall, then the living room. My parents' footsteps thudded across the hardwood floor. I didn't turn to look back at them. My eyes were glued to Holden. He was pale, had bit his lips so hard there was the thin red line of blood running down his chin, and he'd wet himself. What happened? My dad asked from behind me. I managed to swivel away from Holden and look back. He looked. I've never seen my dad scared before, but I saw it that night. In that moment, an old, ugly terror stitched on his face. A parent's fear. Just Holden? He mouthed to me. I nodded yes. My dad let out a breath. He looked so relieved I nearly expected him to cheer. But then he turned to Holden and my dad's face changed. I wonder if he felt bad for feeling good that Holden was the only one that looked. There was a knock at the door. We all froze. Holden whimpered. Don't answer it, my mom said. She stood at the threshold of the hall. I'd always thought she was a skeptic and just humored my dad about the windows and the Whistler, but that night we were all believers. I noticed that both of my parents held baseball bats they must have taken from their bedroom. The knock came again, a little louder this time. Please don't open the door, Holden whispered. My dad walked over to him, hugged him close. We won't, my dad promised, still holding his bat. Nothing is coming in here tonight. Thud, thud, thud. This time the knocking was loud enough to rattle the door. Holden screamed again, and Nola clutched her arms around my neck. My mom came over and knelt down next to us, wrapping my sister and me close. Thud, thud, thud. Call the police, my mom whispered to my dad. The knocking instantly stopped. My dad looked over his shoulder at us. Do you think... He was cut off by frantic knocking that trailed off to a polite tap, tap, tap. Police, something said from the other side of the door. The voice from outside sounded exactly like my mom, like a parrot repeating the words back to her. Police, call the police. Tap, 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 police. My mom pulled us closer. Police, 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 police. Please stop, I heard her whisper. I don't think calling them will help, my dad said. How will we know they're the ones at the door? The knocking came back harder than before. The door shook. Then it stopped. After a long moment, I heard the knocking again, but it was coming from our back door. We all turned together towards the back door, but the knocking immediately returned to the front door. Front to back, back to front. Loud, then quiet, then loud again. Suddenly, the sound was coming from both doors at once. Big, heavy blows like a sledgehammer. Then something started rapping against all the windows in the house, then the walls. It was like we're living inside of a drum with a dozen people trying to play at once. Or we were a turtle and something was attempting to claw us out of our shell. Stop! Holden yelled. The knocking died. I won't tell, Holden said, staring at the door. I promise I won't tell anyone what I saw. Just please go away. We waited for nearly a minute. Then we heard it. A soft tap, 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 coming from the window Holden had looked through earlier. Holden started to cry again, sobbing like a prisoner, watching gallows being built outside their cell. My dad held him, brushed his hair, but he never lied to him, never told him things would be okay. The tapping at the window went on for the rest of the night. We huddled together in the living room for I don't know how long. Eventually, my mom tried to take us kids into my room, while my dad stayed to watch the door. But the second we moved into my bedroom, the knocking came back. So loud it was impossible to ignore. I was afraid the door couldn't take it. We went back into the living room and the knocking stopped. Only the tap, tap, tap on the window remained. None of us slept that night. The tapping stopped around 7 a.m. That's about the time the sun came up here. We waited another 2 hours before my dad opened the blinds from one window. He made us all go back to my parents' bedroom first. I heard him open the door and then come back in. Okay, he told us. It's done. Holden's parents came back around lunchtime. My mom and dad walked Holden over to the house and they all went inside for quite a while. Nola and I watched them from the window. She stuck to me the whole day, right at my side, sometimes holding my hand. When my parents came back, they looked grim, but wouldn't tell us what they said to Holden's family. It was a Sunday, so we all spent the day together, ordered pizza and watched movies. That night, everyone slept in my room. Nola and my mom in the bed with me, my dad in a chair he'd pulled over. There was no knocking that night, or any night since. We didn't see much of Holden or his parents for the rest of that week, but by Thursday there was a moving truck in their driveway. Nola and I watched them packing up the whole afternoon after school. What sticks with me the most is how tired Holden and his parents looked. All three had the same pallor, grim mouths, and lightless eyes. Even from across the street, I could tell something was very wrong. Holden and his family were gone before sunset. I remember what the original welcoming committee said to my parents when we moved. Not everyone who looks at the Whistler dies, but even those that live have the light go out of them, and the rest of their lives are full of misfortune, a million little tragedies. I think Holden's parents must have looked, either to confirm if they didn't believe or share the burden if they did. I watch Nola some days, happy and young and alive, and I wonder if I'd been slower, if she'd looked out the window that night, would I have looked too? To comfort her? To share that burden? I'm glad I don't have to find out. We still live in that house, in that neighborhood. We hear our Whistler walking past every night. The blessings, the luck, the good things here are too good to leave. But we're careful. We don't have friends over to spend the night anymore. And my dad hides the keys to the blinds very, very well. Not that I've gone looking. Some things you just don't need to look for. And that is the conclusion. What'd you think, Lexi? You got your weighted animal.
I want to know if
fucked
whistling
up,
continued.
Ron. Huh?
I'm like, did the Whistler follow Holden? No. So moving away is a decent option? Is it not like that? Also, why didn't the parents wake up when he screamed Nola's name in their bedroom?
I have no idea. I don't think they were in their bedroom.
Where were they?
Wait, maybe not. I don't know. That's a
Because
very
they came
good
out of their
question.
bedroom with baseball bats.
I don't know. But, I don't know. This writer is so good. So, so good. The way they, captured everything.
This is why sleepovers are bad.
But yeah. That was all the spoopy stories today. What'd you guys think?
Good stuffs. Good stuffs.
You played the Midnight game? I've heard of that one.
I haven't. What is that?
Uh,
I've never heard of that one.
it's like a creepypasta ritual thing. It's kind of like Bloody Mary, but way more involved and way scarier. It's a sleepover game, but it's scary when you look at it. It involves people dying if your candle gets blown out, and you have to have salt and make a circle. And if you stand in the circle, even if your candle gets blown out, you're fine. But you have to stay in that circle the rest of the night, or the Midnight Man's going to get you and kill you You do a ritual and play freeze tag with a spirit, basically. Yeah. I wonder, when that came out, I wonder how many parents found their 11-year-old child asleep in a fucking ring of salt. The next day. I wonder how many parents walked into a bedroom and was like, why is there salt everywhere? What is going on?
Not my $20 pink Himalayan salt.
Please! I got this from Trader Joe's. It was expensive, you little shit. It's
Only
like,
thing I can imagine is kids trying to pour salt on a carpet going, where'd the salt go?
maybe cool. My granny got up in the middle of the night to pee and found me in a ring of salt and my friend walking around with a candle. She didn't ask.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
That's how I'd be. I don't want to know.
Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Odious Orations and some fuckery at the end. I love your faces so much. I will see you Friday for a brand new episode of Community Chaos, and you know it's going to be a fucking shit show on Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love your face so much. Thank you so much for being here. Remember, be good, and if you can't, be good at it. Bye!